All right, welcome to the Alex Olinger podcast. It's the first podcast of 2025, and that's good, man. That's good. Welcome to that, and it's good to be here. Welcome to another year of having my cat yell at me for not doing the things I want to do, and or me not doing the things he wants me to do. Or maybe he is yelling at me because I'm not doing what I want to do. Who knows what cats are trying to communicate, when they yell at you? Welcome to that new year, new cat motivational, I also don't want to be one of those white guys, like stuffy kind of white guys that he wears a sweater and is like way too into his cat. You know what I'm talking about, those kind of awkward white guys with perhaps glasses and a bad beard and not really good posture and a typewriter that they never use, and a weird mono collection, and they kind of have just like a soft, kind of fluffy energy to them, a little pudge in the presence. They have a presence of pudge. I don't want to be that. This year I want to lock in. I don't want to go full David Goggins because I feel like that's psychopathic and borderline inhumane to live your life like that. I don't want to do that, but I don't really want to be kind of a hunched over slob. But maybe and I think you do get to choose that. Right? And I think there is such a thing as free will. I think you get to dictate that. And I think that might be the essence of humanity or creation, and that might even be what God is. Right? Welcome to 2025. It's a philosophical year, and all my philosophies will be one statement and not really seen through or thought through at all. It's just a gut feeling that I have. And sometimes I wonder, why can't I just go on gut feeling? Why does everything have to be so fleshed out and factualized and researched and nitpicked and cited and worked over and edited and combed through until it loses all of its life and it becomes robotic? Why can't things just be a gut feeling in a genuine expression? If I believe that there's such a thing as free will and I'm wrong, well then just fucking let it go. Why can't you let me do that? Why does there have to be a whole world of people out there that just feel the need to correct that? Can't a guy just be wrong every once in a while? That's part of being a person, isn't it? Just being wrong, just being simple and wrong while you drink a beer and look off your porch, just living in your wrongness. Maybe it's not the truth. With the free will thing, I haven't really researched it. I've had some people give me other arguments. They say there's no free will based on quantum mechanics and things like that. You know what I mean? Well, they say it's like based on quantum mechanics. And I don't even know what quantum mechanics is. That's kind of like the problem. And a lot of the scientists, they don't really know what quantum mechanics is either. Remember that. A lot of these scientists, it's all calculated and all worked out. Like I said, like cited and combed through and looked over and picked apart. And then they get to a point where the universe, it gets so complicated and beyond our thought that it essentially, to even the scientists, it's just magic, right? And if it's just magic at the bottom and it radiates up through us, why can't I just have a feeling and a gut feeling about something and go on that? Why can't I let my human spirit shine through instead of like working on some sort of like way to turn myself into a computing machine? I don't want to be a computer. I want to be a human. I want to touch the grass and look at the sky and look at tits. I want to touch tits. That's what I want to do. I want to touch an ass every now and then. I want to squeeze it with my hands and eat a sandwich. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that, man. I want to be a genuine person this year. Try to be honest. A couple things I was working on. You know, I'll put this out because this will get like 4 views. That's what hold on. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Straight espresso on ice, which I just made, you know. Let me take a sip of that real quick, okay? Let a person have their coffee before they start opening up to you about their New Year's resolutions. A lot can change after a couple sips of coffee, okay? People become a different person after they get their caffeine, get that dopamine in their brain in the morning. Let them drink their coffee first. I don't think anybody should be judged before like 10 a.m. I think that's the right thing to do. And I don't think it's fair to look at outliers and freaks of nature. That's the right way to say it. I don't think it's fair to look at outliers and freaks of nature and to project that back as a standard onto everybody else, man. I don't think it's fair to take LeBron James and David Goggins and Navy SEALs and kind of guilt people into not living up to that standard. Because some people are just built to be that way and some people are not, okay? So I think the standard judgment time for human beings should start at after 10 a.m. Can you pull yourself up through a hangover by 10 a.m.? You know, maybe not 6 or 7. But like if it's too rough after 10 and you're at work, you went out on a weekday, you come into work and it's after 10 a.m. and you're still too rough to do anything, like let's have a talk about that and let's fix that. But if you're working at 6:30 a.m., someone's still a little fucked up and they can't really get there, give them a break. Give them a break is what I say. For all the regular people that can't dunk a basketball, you know what I mean, or haven't sniped 30 Iraqis and not felt a thing about it. Like, let's start this after 10 a.m., people. All right? Call me a communist. Call me a liberal. That's all I'm asking. You know, that's all I want, is to just not be judged too fucking early, because I don't have it together before then. I know people that only sleep 3 hours a night, and that's good for them, but that's not something I'm going to look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh, why can't I do that? I can't do that because I don't have the DNA to do that. Free will only goes so far, man. Free will only goes as far as like traffic and how many beers you had the night before. Other than that, it's up to God. You know, I can't control how many people are in the grocery store or how shitty the music is there. You know, that's all just weather to me. You know, so 2025, let's try to, I'm going to work on really just organization. I have a couple kind of like on the mountainside of comedy. I have a couple thorns that are holding my ankle that I need to just go ahead and rip off, man. And one of these thorns is when I'm on stage and I have something that I want to say or a bit that I want to do. There is a voice in my head on occasion, especially if it's a full room. If it's a full room and the show is hot and everybody's done well, I have this voice in the back of my head that's like, dude, just do the shit that works. Don't try the new stuff. You know, you don't know if they'll like it. And that honestly, that's holding me back from doing the new things and trying new things, and it's holding me back from progressing a little bit, and it's made my act stagnate in a way. You know, I can do it on shows that my friends run where I know they're not going to kick me off, but it's got to, you know, if I know I'm not going to get fired, I'm fine, but it's got to happen elsewhere because you got to try it in front of other people. You know, and I can see kind of the next plateau right above me. There's like a rocky kind of resting area on this mountain that I can get my senses and some wits about me. The next like creative thing, you know, but I'm not, again, I'm not a freak of nature. I'm just a normal guy. So I still, you know, to a certain extent, I still care what others think about me, and I still care if the show doesn't go well, and I feel a lot of responsibility for the comics after me, that they're going to have like an opportunity to do well on the show too. And that's like that's a lot of pressure to be in there, especially when all the people are rich, hot white people that live in the east side of Austin. And I know, you know what? I know this isn't like, it's not like cool. It's not like a Bill Hicks or George Carlin thing. It's not the thing anybody looks up to. Somebody who like actually gives a fuck about that stuff, which is why I'm trying to get away from this mentality. But I'm not going to sit here on this podcast, on this solo podcast, and lie about me giving a fuck about it. I'll be honest and I'll tell the truth, and I'll just be like, I do give a fuck about that still. I was like, growing up, I was a really shy kid. You know, I really, really, really hated being in front of people. Like, I remember giving this one book report in 8th grade where they were like, pick a song and you can explain the song. And everybody picked like popular songs, and I was like going through my dad's classic rock album collection. I picked like some like cheesy Aerosmith song. And I played it for the class, and as soon as I hit play, when I was in front of the room, I was in front of the room, we had these old chalkboards. They were like green chalk, like old school chalkboards. They weren't whiteboards. I went to a Catholic school that had only 2 hallways. It was like 2 stories with 2 hallways. And we were in 8th grade, so we were on the top floor in the top hallway, and there's 26 kids in my class. So we like knew each other all pretty well. And it was pretty much the same 26 kids in the class. So it wasn't like I was never going to see these people again, you know. So I'm in the little room with the green chalkboard. I'm standing up there with those old like CD players. Remember those CD players? They would make them like, they were like football shaped. And they had like the grills on the side, the kind of the metal meshing over the speakers, and you'd press open and the plastic thing would flip up like the hood of a car. And I press play, and as soon as the first note hit of the song, I just got this gut feeling. I was like, dude, I shouldn't have fucking played this song. Nobody knows what this song is. And my face got super beet red, and I started to sweat, and I just looked down at the ground, and I couldn't really do the rest of the presentation. That's like where my head was for most of my life. I could be outgoing, like cool around my friends, but just being in front of people was horrifying. And this has lasted until recently. It's been a pretty big like mental block for me, just to not want to be humiliated in front of people. And it's starting to actually go away. Like last night at the Speakeasy show, which you should come out to, Congress Avenue, downtown Austin, a bar called Speakeasy every Saturday. Starts around 7:45 to 8. Yeah, come out to it. Last night I was doing the set there, and I actually looked people in the eyes, and I was like, I don't actually care about their reaction. And if they don't laugh, I'll go back and fix some things, but it's not going to, like, bother me enough in the moment, you know what I mean? But, you know, granted, that was also a situation where, like, a lot of people had bombed and the crowd was kind of dead. So that's that's easier to be in that pocket when there's not a lot of pressure like that, when the bar is really low. When it's really high, though, like the show before at 6 p.m., when there's like 70 people in a crammed room, and the comic before you just fucking destroys. Which Hunter Duncan, by the way, that dude, he did like Comedy Central a while ago. I think he runs the Don't Tells in Austin. Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud, but I did, and it's going in there. He fucking murdered, man. He's got hot, white, kind of like college-educated people. He's got their personalities nailed. Like, the things they want to hear about, the way they want to, like, see a comic be. He's got it nailed down, and he fucking obliterated. Like, he fucking crushed. Really, really, really hard. And I hadn't eaten all day. I think I only had like a bagel with cream cheese, and they didn't give me enough cream cheese for it, so half of the bagel was just a toasted plain bagel, which was upsetting. And that was my meal for the day. And I'm sitting there kind of shaky and out of energy, and I'm just watching. I'm like, oh my God, I have to follow this. And that forced me into the mind state of like, all right, now I'm going to go up there, and I'm just going to do, you know, what I know works, and kind of riff around a little bit and do a little bit of crowd work and get out of there. But that's upsetting to me. Even though people, when I got off, they're like, you did great. It's like, thanks, but I know that works. And that's upsetting to me because every single time I go up, I want to have something to push, and something new needs to come out, and I need to change as a comic a little bit. I need to grow a little bit every single time. There needs to be some sort of growth or some sort of breaking of the old thing so I can constantly become a new thing and work my way into this like spot, you know, to become the final form, like the Super Saiyan version of the comic that I need to be, like the final thing, you know? So even if I crush and something new doesn't happen or something uncomfortable doesn't happen, to me, it feels like almost like a wasted set, and that I played it safe. And it makes me feel like a little bitch boy. Yeah, you like that, you little bitch boy? That's what they say. Yeah, but that's the thing for 2025 that I'm trying to kind of like break out of. That's one of the thorns on my foot holding me down that I got to rip off. It's going to be tough. There's going to be some tough sets. And hey, maybe people aren't going to contact me after that. But you know what? If they don't contact me after that, we're not really on the same page of what comedy is and what we need to be doing. So fuck them. Honestly. If you can't take a comic having a couple uncomfortable sets, somebody that you know can do it well, maybe they have a couple rough ones working out some new shit, then fuck you, quite frankly. If you just want to have like the best fucking show every time and you don't want to support these people once out of every 50 sets to break something down and do something new, go fuck yourself. I don't know why I don't even know that no one's even done that to me yet, so there's no reason to curse on this podcast at them and get aggressive. I'm getting aggressive at a hypothetical idea of a person. All right, another sip of coffee. Yeah, so that's what we're doing 2025. Another fucking thorn in the foot. Another thorn in the foot is going to be organization. I'm like a genuinely disorganized person. So I got to figure that out, man. I never have been able to. My brain just jumps from thing to thing, and I just do the next thing and the next thing, and I kind of just leave a trail of carnage behind me of like half written bits and half finished jokes, and I need to lock in on that shit and make them. I basically have like the sketches of the beginning of like 30 different drawings or songs, and it's like they need to be done. You know, that's what needs to happen. I got a text message. I will ignore that. That's what needs to happen. We're just going right back into it. That's what needs to happen. I need to be able to organize and turn these things into like a song or an act and really boil them down into something not sketchy but refined and simple, and only sketchy in ways that make the thing seem accentuated and human and give it its style. You know, that's what the sketchiness should be for. It shouldn't be like an overwhelming thing. It should like continually be supporting the act, and it should be supporting kind of like some of the characteristics. Like it should be giving it life rather than overwhelming the good parts. So that's it. Organization. How the fuck do I do that? How am I gonna? I have like 4 to 5 days straight of audio recordings. Like, so it's at least the time on stage that I've recorded myself is at least what's 3 days is 72 hours. 72, 96. It's like over like 120 some. I'm not the best with math. It's, you know, it's up in the 120 hours, I guess, around there of like recorded time on stage. There's no way I'm going to go through all of it, but there's got to be some sort of system to get through it. I think like George Carlin probably had the best method, and he was smart to start doing this and always do it, but he would like stream of consciousness right and then continually go through those things and organize all of them into topics and like files in a file folder, and then he would go through and basically take those things and refine them into bits. But he said organization was huge because he could find like each individual thing that he needed to work on. And that's probably going to be, sorry, I'm not like goofing off on this podcast, but I'm really not in the mood today for whatever reason. So it's, anyways, I guess maybe some sort of method like that. I think it'd be sick to have like an old filing cabinet. I really do love like old machines, you know. Not to be that guy. I'm a millennial, so our generation was always like really mean to hipsters. But we did officially have some of the worst. Like we had the worst grade of hipsters, I think, of all time, or millennial hipsters. Just the really just douchiest blogging, pipe smoking, never worked a day in their life with their hands type hipsters that like wanted to be salt of the earth but also couldn't let go of their like luxuries. So it was this weird mix of like you have $1 million fucking dollars in your bank account, but you're like forcing people to eat honey out of jars in your house. Just weird shit like that. Or some douche with a mustache that like wears suspenders, but he's also like the head of a hip hop blog for alternative rap music and won't like anything that's catchy or normal people like that guy. The guy that really gave hipsters a bad name. I think the original term for hipster came up in the 20s, and it was used to describe white kids that would dress and act like black jazz musicians. So really, hipster started out as the original wigger. That was the original term, I guess, for hipster. I guess it was those guys. Like the OG Malibu's Most Wanted was white kids playing jazz and acting like jazz musicians, saying words like cool and cat. Those were like the original hipsters. And really, compared to what it has become now, or at least what it was when millennials like had the stage and we were like in our 20s, that's way better and so much more tolerable. Honestly, some of the shit that's going on now, even Malibu's Most Wanted, I'd rather spend time with those guys than some of the people out here, to be honest, because at least they're funny and they have like passion and they have like a little bit of charisma to them. And in their delusions, they believe they are those guys. And that's hilarious to see and to hang out with. You know, I don't even know what Gen Z hipsters are. I have no idea what Gen Z is doing. I don't really... All the ones that I meet, I like and I'm cool with. But they're different. They're different than us, man. They just have, man, their fucking iPads, man. They didn't, you know what, the real difference is like, I feel there's a difference in people. It's, the real line is whether or not you remember 9/11. If you watch 9/11 live, I can fuck with you. I can relate. And if you didn't see it live or you don't remember it happening, there's something lacking in your stare and in your eyes. You don't really know. And I can't describe what that thing is that's lacking. I just know that it's not there and I can tell. Like if you think like Charizard is old school or you don't know what that is, you know, it's all about which Pokemon do you think are Pokemon? Let's talk about that. Which terrorist attack do you remember most clearly? What's the big one for you? What's the big bombing? What is it? Which one do you remember? Is it localized? Because Gen Z had, you know, they're more so the school shooting generation. We had like 9/11. So that's what we're on. We are on, millennials are on the 9/11 thing. And you can tell, man, you can tell the difference. All right. What am I? I'm at 8:51. I don't have a timer on this podcast. Little known fact. I just have on GarageBand. I recorded on GarageBand. It just counts the bars at 120 beats per minute. And I'm at, I think, 159, 160 bars, maybe. So I kind of use that to time myself. I think 700 is around 30 minutes. I'd say, so, that's good. I'm around 30 minutes. Let's do let's fucking call it there. Actually, no, wait, don't delete, don't exit out, don't move on. Let's do this. I'm going to do a quick album review. I want to start doing these, and on this podcast, I'm only going to talk about records that I like, okay? I'm not going to sit here like that potato-headed Anthony Fantano douche, or whatever he is. I don't know if he's a douche, but he's a music critic, and I don't think it's fair for me to air out somebody else's art that I don't like, because I don't know what it took to make it, and I don't know if other people like it. You know what I mean? And I couldn't sit there and record like a whole band's album or produce or mix it. And you know what? I've tried. I tried to do my hand in music when I was younger, and it failed badly. Some people said it was good, and that's great, but I just didn't have a certain thing that was needed for it. And that's fine, man. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and talk about albums that I hate. I'm only going to do albums that I like. And the one that I like this week, let me look this up. It's I'm getting into like a folk phase. So okay, there's this lady, Norma Tanega. I think that's how you pronounce it. The album is Walkin' My Cat Named Dog. And it's a ripper fucking album. She's a guitar player, singer-songwriter. She was born January 30th, 1939, and died in 2019. I think this album came out in the 70s or something. I don't know. It sounds like it. But it's, 1966. Norma Tanega had a worldwide hit with the title track of her debut album, Walkin' My Cat Named Dog. This album is great. It's acoustic, and it's like has some other instruments in there. She's got a great voice, and it's really like earthy, and it's raw, and it's recorded really well. And you kind of get this feeling like you're in a city and your windows are open and you're drinking a coffee and you're watching people walk down the street, and maybe it's a little bit windy and there's like some newspapers flying, but it's sunny and it's warm, outside, and there's like clothes on a clothesline, and there's no such thing as the internet, and people have like afros and they still smoke cigarettes, and men know how to look women in the eyes, and there's no such thing as Minecraft, and there's no such thing as Cheetos yet, or preservatives, and hippies are still cool and not evil. The hippies haven't been introduced to crack and meth yet, and machetes. You just get this kind of old school vibe for it. So that's my album of the week that I recommend listening to. Walkin' My Cat Named Dog by Norma Tanega. And that's the podcast, everybody. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.